What's good, everybody? Rhetorical question life. This is Heavy Bree, and you are on the Heavy Bree channel. And today we have a special one for you guys, another Bre-View, and this time we're going to be doing it on the movie Maxxxine. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, this is the third movie in Ty West's XXX series. Ty West is the director of this movie, and it is starring once again Mia Goth, who appeared in the first two movies in the XXX movies. It's also starring Giancarlo Esposito, Elizabeth Debicki, Moses Sumney, Michelle Monaghan, Bobby Cannavale, Lily Collins, and Halsey appears in it for a brief moment, and Kevin Bacon. This movie is this is one of those movies where it's like, you know, it's a part of something that's gonna become a huge cult following, but we'll get into all that later. You know, like, I don't even want to spoil it. There's like, I mean, this is gonna sound biased, but I like this one. Most of the movies, for those of you that don't know, like, most of the movies that I review on the Bre-Views are movies that I like. Okay, you'll never see me or hear about me reviewing a movie that I didn't like or that sucked. So if you're asking, like, how come you didn't review this movie that came out, or how come you didn't review that movie that came out, either because I didn't get around to seeing it in theaters or on stream, or I just wasn't feeling the vibe of the movie, you know? Like, so if you're asking me, like, why didn't you go see this movie? This new movie came out. I'm like, well, I didn't get around to watching it. But if you guys have any movies that are out in theaters that you haven't saw yet or want to see, and you guys want me to review them, let me know. You know, like, oh, I ain't gonna watch it, but like if you guys trust my opinion on movies and reviews and everything, just let me know what movie y'all want me to watch, and then I'll let y'all know if it's trash or not. Okay? And if I don't review it, then, like, that means I didn't like it. That means I did watch it, I didn't like it. But I only review movies that I think are good, and I'm here to convince you guys why you should see or shouldn't see these movies. So this movie is about this young actress named Maxxxine Minx. Maxxxine is in the porn industry. She's a porn actress, but she's trying to break in to mainstream movies. But just when she's about to break into the industry for real this time, not just with screw movies, her past comes back to haunt her, and it leads to some gory stuff. This is a horror movie, by the way. This is one of those horror thriller movies where it's a lot of, like, it has kind of a noir element to it. So there's like a mystery, and there's also some very like grotesque and gruesome stuff that happens throughout this movie. This is one of them horror movies and everything. And in my opinion, Ty West, the guy who directed this movie and directed the first two movies, X and Pearl, he is a student of a student and a master in the making when it comes to this horror stuff. You know, he reminds me of like a young Eli Roth when Eli Roth was doing Hostile and those other movies he was doing back in the days. And it's just like the movie it grips you. You know, these movies grip you, and they make you feel uncomfortable, but in a good way. You know, like when you see certain stuff happening in the movie, you're like, oh my god, it makes you jump and cringe. Like, there was a few times in this movie where I felt like, I was like, oh no, like, oh, in the face, no. Like, yeah, man, it gets real in these movies, man. And with that being said, this movie is for, if you're the kind of person who loves 80s horror, if you love the 80s, late 70s, 80s, and some of the early 90s horror, the real, like, limited special effects, like, not really, the plot's not really, like, you know, the plot is building up to, like, this huge, big, gory thing that's gonna happen, and every other scene is some sketchy, scary stuff happening, some scary, gory stuff, like some real slasher stuff. If you're that kind of fan of those kind of movies, this is the movie for you. If you love 80s, the whole 80s vibe and the thriller, you know, the thriller set and everything, like, if you like that kind of stuff, then this movie's for you. This is what you're gonna be into and everything. One thing this movie does wrong, which also helps with the whole campy horror vibe, is it kind of like it overdoes it with some of the dialogue is a little too like cliche. Some of the characters are like one dimensional or like two dimensional, whatever. It's like other than like the main character and maybe one or two other characters in the movie, like everybody's kind of like a stock character. Like their whole role in the movie is just so that to progress the plot of the story, you know. So, but like any other, like any horror movie or 80s style movie, that's pretty much what you're gonna get, you know. Like it's very rare that you're gonna get a horror movie or like a movie from the 80s where the characters aren't cliches of something that, you know, that you see in movies, like the one creepy dude, or the hard ass detective, or the damsel in distress, you know, like, or like the creepy over the top like ominous villain, you know. You're gonna get that with this kind of movie, but you know, if you're the kind of person who likes that kind of thing, then it's not really wrong. I mean, like me, like it got to the point now when it came to like, because this movie's a slasher movie, okay, and when it gets to the part where when it reveals who the slasher is, on one hand, it's not that obvious because, you know, it could be anybody who's like, you know, who's got beef with Maxxxine, because, like, you know, if you watch the first movie, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna spoil the first two movies. I'll do a Bre-View for those movies and like later, you know, like even though they're already out and they're already available on stream, you can see Pearl on, you can rent Pearl on Amazon Prime or on YouTube, or you can like you can watch X on, I think X is on Prime as well, but I think you can watch that one for free. But like these movies, both of those movies are like, well, I'm not gonna get into it with that. Like that's a part of the review. That's gonna be part of the review. But like, this is a pretty good, in my opinion. Like this is a pretty good addition into the X series, you know. And Ty West, this guy does a great job at like making the audience believe that you're in the 80s, making you believe that you're in that environment, the gritty, claustrophobic, dark, and like just uncut vibe of the 80s, man. This movie is literally a whole time capsule, from the cars to the cinematography of how the movie is made. A lot of the shots in the movie are homages to like other horror movies, like the Friday the 13th movies, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, and like Halloween. Like a lot of these shots pay homage, and Psycho too. It pays homage to a lot of like horror movies that came out around those times. So if you're like a person who likes Easter eggs and you like the horror vibe and everything, and you don't mind the camp, because there's a lot of camp in this movie. The movie has a lot of like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. Like, oh, like, but like, it does make you like kind of jump. Some of the camp stuff makes you kind of jump and like, haha, that was a good one. But like, and then some of them is like the movie, it's on that balance of like, it's good storytelling, but it gets ruined by the camp. The camp kind of ruins the storytelling and the plot of the movie and everything. It's like, you know, that's a little over the top and everything. But like with most horror slasher movies and everything, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get over the top death scenes, over the top violence, over the top nudity, it's gonna be a little over the top. That's just what horror movies are. And if you're a fan of that, then you have no problem with that. And if you aren't, and if you are, well then, you know, just cut your brain off, man. That's what horror movies are for. Slashers specifically. They're meant for you to cut your brain off for about an hour and a half and just enjoy the movie. Stop thinking about like, that would never happen in real life. Of course it's not gonna happen in real life. It's a movie. It's not, none of this stuff's gonna happen in real life. I mean, some of the stuff might have happened, but like, you know, it's, yeah. Oh, and like, but the backdrop of the movie, it takes place in 85, and it's also, in the backdrop of the movie has kind of a you know, like the murders that happen in the movie are also aligned with the time of the Night Stalker stuff, because the movie takes place in Los Angeles, mostly in Hollywood, but like it's in the Los Angeles area, you know. But it's most of the stuff that's happening is happening in Hollywood, and to my knowledge, Night Stalker never went in the Hollywood areas, you know. I mean, he probably went to North Hollywood in the suburban areas, but he never went to like actual Hollywood. He was killing around, like, you know, like North. He was in North. He had a few murders in North Hollywood and San Fernando Valley and some places like that. But yeah, man, like that's the backdrop of the movie. Is like, you know, it's Hollywood. It's the '80s. Like the Night Stalkers going around, like, you know, terrorizing LA, and, you know, and these murders that are happening in the movie that involve Maxxine, you know, that involve her, you know, that are like also they're making it look like the Night Stalkers doing those murders too. And without revealing any more, I don't want to like spoil the movie for y'all. I'm just saying, like, that's just what the backdrop of the movie is, you know, because there's more to the movie than what you see, you know. And Mia Goth, the chick who plays Maxxine, she also played Pearl in the second movie, in the second movie, which was a prequel. This girl is a scream queen. After this movie, she's officially a scream queen. You know, the first movie, like, you're like, okay, I've seen her some stuff before. Okay, this is a good movie for her. You know, some good indie film vibes. And then the second movie is like, oh my gosh, yo, she has a lot of range, and she's gonna. And then this movie, you know, having, you know, been through the events in the first movie, she's a lot more hardened and a lot more vicious than what happened to her in the first movie. And I'm not gonna get into too much what happened in there. Like, she's a scream queen, man. She's a scream queen now, bro. Like, along with like the new scream queens is her, Jenna Ortega, the other chick who was in the new Scream movies, and there's like a few others who are also scream queens. Homegirl who's in that movie Don't Make a Sound, or Listen or Talk to Me. Yeah, Homegirl from Talk to Me. She's also in that category. I forgot her name. Her name slipped my mind. The only actors and actresses whose names I put down for this was the actors in the movie. Oh, speaking of which, yo, Kevin Bacon's in this one. This movie has all the great 80 vibes, man. It's the claustrophobia, the cocaine, the high tempo electric music, and Kevin Bacon, man. Like, you can't have an 80s movie without Kevin Bacon, man. This guy, he's been killing it for a long time, man, since the 70s, bro. Like, Kevin Bacon's one of them dudes who, like, he can play anything, man. This guy's, the fact that he hasn't won an Academy Award, or I don't know if he's been nominated for an Academy Award, but he should have, like, at least been nominated for, like, you know, for Sleepers and that one movie, in that one movie, Murder in the First Degree. He should have got nominated for those movies, you know, because he has so much. This guy has so much range, man. And in the movie, the stuff that he was doing in the movies, if that really was him running and doing what he was doing, you know, for a guy in his, I don't know if he's in his 60s or his 50s or whatever. I know he's up there in age, man, but for a guy his age, this guy is still, like, out there proving why he's like one of the goats, man. Like, Kevin Bacon kills it in this movie, man. He plays this sleazebag private detective and private eye who's like harassing Maxxine, and, you know, his character is just a hot mess. Every time he's on the screen, he steals the show, you know. Him and Giancarlo Esposito, you know, the guy who plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad and in Better Call Saul. He was also bugging out in Do the Right Thing. I don't know if anybody really remembers that, but he was in that too. He's been in a lot of, like, Spike Lee joints. He's also like the CEO of Vought in The Boys. He's always playing like lately he's been getting typecast as the sophisticated villain. But in this movie, he's just, like, you know, allowed to cook. He's allowed to cook and play a different character, you know? I mean, he does some sinister stuff later on in the movie, but he, like, no spoiler. He's not the villain in this one. They've actually allowed him to play somebody other than, like, some sketchy, you know, sinister sophisticated villain. Lately he's been getting typecast as a sophisticated villain, from like Breaking Bad to video games and Far Cry to like, you know, like he's been getting like, you know, like he's been getting typecast lately. And this movie right here just shows that this guy has range. Giancarlo, like he steals the show every time he's on camera. He steals the show. Kevin Bacon steals the show. Elizabeth Debicki, she steals the show too. Like she plays a director in the movie. She is like, you know, like her, like I've been vibing with her since Inglourious Bastards, man. Like I haven't seen like the few movies that I've seen her in, she's always like, you know, like doing her thing, man. You know, she's always playing like this this reserved, she has this like reserved stoic confidence to her and everything, but she also knows how to show vulnerability. In this movie, she brings her trademark, you know, like tough as nail, but still kind of like, you know, empathetic, like character to like this character, you know, and she does a great job in this movie too. Michelle Monaghan and Bobby Cannavale, they play two detectives and everything, and they do a great job playing the one detective who's like trying to be, who empathizes with the character, but is still trying to like solve the case, and the other cop who's like the bad cop, or the cop who's extra, who's like, well, I don't know, you have something to do with this, that kind of cop. I'm not gonna say which one is which, but like they do a great job in this movie. Lily Collins, she's in it, and she plays an actress, you know, she plays an actress, and she does a good job for her scenes and everything. And everybody, this is like one of the movies where everyone who was involved, this is like one of those situations where if everybody understood the assignment and they all did their part, everybody did their part. Like nobody was lacking. Like I said, like the campy parts of the movie kind of slow down the plot and kind of like make the movie kind of like almost cliche. But other than that, this is a great addition to like the X trilogy, and I can't wait to see Ty West's next movie. By the way, he's like he might be doing a fourth movie in the X series. You know, this is supposed to be a trilogy, but based on how it ended, and also like the performance of it at the box office, and like the cult following that it has, because like a lot of people like, you know, like were into this movie, myself included, and this movie has a really huge fan base, and it's been doing well and both movies did well at the box office, you know, for independent films. And like it might lead to a fourth film. I hope it doesn't, because recently I saw a movie that was a fourth in a series of movies, and it greatly disappointed me, which is why I'm not reviewing it. And I'm not gonna say what it is, because you guys can just figure it out for yourself. But yeah, this movie. But yeah, other than that, final verdict. Final verdict for this movie is, if you guys are familiar with the Bre-Views, I do, well, for movies and shows, I do like, well, for movies, I do like, I rank it 4 ways. The best review is go see it. Then under that is watch it. Then there's rent it, where it's like, you know, if you missed it in theaters, and if this is a good movie, but you know, like you don't really have to like watch, it's not really watchable, it's not really the movie you want to watch, but it's still a good movie to like, you know, rent if you like, hey, that's like a good movie. And then stream it means, you know what, this movie really isn't really worth you spending any money on. If you're gonna watch it, then like if you see it on Netflix or whatever, then you know, you can watch it if you want to, but it's whatever, it is what it is. So but this movie is definitely a watch it. Yeah, this is a watch it. This is like a movie that you need to watch, that you should watch. It's because it's still, despite all the camp, despite it just being geared towards a specific audience, it's still a watchable movie. You know, the thrill of the movie and the 80s vibe, like especially if you're in your like late 30s, early 40s, and you grew up, you were a kid in the 80s and everything, and you like saw the movies, it brings back that nostalgia factor. You know, this is definitely a movie that like people in their 40s and late 30s will deeply appreciate. You know, the 90s kids will appreciate this movie, because it reminds us of the popcorn slasher horror films we used to watch when we were kids, movies you would rent at Blockbuster, like hey, I remember this movie, I didn't see it in theaters, let's watch it. And then you watch it and like, oh my god, this is terrifying. And then you have nightmares for 3 weeks, and you can't sleep with the closet door open, because you think that like Freddy's gonna get you. It's one of those movies, man. And like, it's more terrifying because like it really, this movie, one thing I will add is that this movie kind of adds how dangerous it is and how scary it is being a woman. Like it's like that one joke that Chappelle had about like having a $50,000 in your backpack, and you have to walk through the worst neighborhood in the city and deliver it and make a drop in the most dangerous neighborhood in the city. That's what it's like being a woman. Like you got some valuable goods on you, and you're walking in except the whole world is a dangerous hood, and like you have valuable goods, and someone's gonna try and get those goods. And it's a scary world, man. It's a scary world for women, man. And this movie like kind of shows how scary it is being a woman, and how hard it is being a woman. Especially during in that time. Especially if you were trying to become an actress or just make something out of yourself, and how hard it is to break into being legit, or just break into the business without having to show your tits. It's rough, but like, and this movie does a great job at emphasizing how rough it is, and how hard it is being a woman, especially in that business. In the 80s, when this is like pre-Me Too, before like scumbags were getting exposed, and it just shows you and how that bias is even geared towards like how it's even harder for it's hard even when you have women who are established in the business, who are like just saying, hey, it is what it is, but that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do to get by. It's rough, and this movie does a great job of emphasizing that. And this is definitely a watch it. So watch this movie, whether you go see it in theaters or dude, this is a movie you want to watch. Preferably watch it. Like make it an event. Like you should watch X. Go watch X, because X is really good. It's one of them slasher films that really kind of like, just like, why would y'all do that? And if you like horror movies like that, X. Pearl, out of all 3 of the movies in the trilogy, I will say this: Pearl's the best one. But I'll explain why when I do a Bre-View. Like I'm gonna do a Bre-View for X, I'm gonna do a Bre-View for Pearl, and then later I'm gonna do a whole Bre-View, a special Bre-View where I talk about all 3 movies, and I talk about like which one is like, I'll explain why Pearl is the best after I review them, and like you guys should just watch it. Like go watch X, go watch Pearl. Pearl right now is on Paramount Plus. I think X is on Paramount Plus too. It's also on other platforms. You can watch it. You can, and then if you don't have those, you can, or if you don't want to buy, if you don't want to pay for Paramount Plus, you go do the free membership thing, whatever. But like, yeah, just check them out. Check those movies out, and then preferably watch those movies, then watch Maxxxine. It all makes sense. It's a great trilogy. It's a great series of films. It really goes great together, man. And like this movie right here, Maxxxine, is really good on the big screen. Like I missed X and Pearl on the big screen. I would have loved to have seen both of them on the big screen. I hope they re-release the first 2 movies and Maxxxine, and re-release Maxxxine all in one day, so you could watch all 3 movies at the same time. Like you probably watch X on Friday, watch Pearl on Saturday, watch Maxxxine on Sunday. That would be a great little weekend for for movies and everything. So I picked my nose right there, like I had an itch right there in my nose, and no boogers. So yeah, man, thank you all for watching. Watch Maxxxine. Like you guys gotta watch Maxxxine at some point. Just watch it. It's a good movie, and go watch X and Pearl. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate every single last one of you. If you guys have any comments or if you guys have a movie or a show or even a series, like right now, like I live on the road, so whenever I get off work, what I do is sometimes I have 10 hours. I have a 10-hour break. So usually what I'll do is one of those hours I work out. Then go shower, then I go, and then like I'll read for a little bit, and then on the last half of the hour, right before bed, I'll probably watch like, you know, one show. So if there's a show that you guys been meaning to watch, or a show that you want to suggest for me to watch, and like I'll review it, or a movie on stream, where like I don't really mess with that, man. Like I don't know if I want to watch it or not. Like it looks interesting. It's been on my watch list for a while. Like let's see if Heavy can like watch it, and then he'll review it, and then he'll see whether or not it's worth watching or not. Like you guys have any suggestions or anything, or on a Bre-View for a movie that recently came out or it's in theaters? Like I said, like every 36 hours, when I stop for 36 hours, I always go to the movies. If I stop for 36 hours to like, you know, take a break to do a Bre-Set, I always like, you know, go to the movies. It's like one of my things. I've been going to movies since I was a kid. I love going to the movies. I didn't go to the movies a lot when I was a kid, so like as an adult, I love going to the movies. It's one of the things I like to do. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Please leave a comment. If you're a return viewer, if you are a return watcher of this channel, and you like the content, please subscribe. Oh yeah, and leave a like if you like the video. If you like the video, please like it, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell notification so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings. Have a prosperous day.